Hello again. Thank you very much for joining me here on Movie Ninja. Today we're going to be talking about finally, Disney owns up to its promise and gives us, Shang Chi. Okay, now if you're unaware, which to be fair, most of you will be. Who is Shang Chi? Well, Shang Chi is essentially the martial arts kung fu man for all seasons for the Marvel Universe. He is someone that made the scene in the early 70s, kind of like during the Bronze era of comic books, and has been kind of everything. What do I mean by that? Okay, he's been an Avenger, he's been a Defender, a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, an independent contractor. General, like I said, go-to for all or most of the MCU's kung fu purposes. He has worked with almost every single major hero and every single major team. So now it is good that he's going to be given his time to shine. For years we've been hearing this, like, hey, what about Shang-Chi? Or Disney has always put it out there, like, yeah, just give us a little more time. Okay, well, a few more years roll by, like, hey, what about that Shang-Chi movie that you guys were going to greenlight? What happened to that? It's like, yeah, just be patient. It's like, okay, because it's starting to feel like it's not going to happen. Finally, we're getting it. Okay, so from this trailer, you have some interesting components here. Shang-Chi, unfortunately, thanks to retcons, or no thank you retcons, but still, whatever. Because so much stuff has been done and then redone, and the origins of certain characters have been juggled a lot, Shang-Chi has had a number of beginnings. But this one in particular, they're highlighting a very interesting origin, particularly his connection with the Mandarin. The Mandarin is going to be played by Tony Leung. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Tony Leung, I'm primarily familiar with when he does, kung fu films. So I'm familiar with his work from Hero and The Grandmaster, the Ip Man biopic that came out, oh my goodness, almost 10 years ago. But all the same, Tony Leung, he's done these types of movies before. Simu Liu, who is going to be playing Shang-Chi, I'm not as familiar with his work. I looked him up before making this video. So he has done a Canadian comedy series called Kim's Convenience, and he's also been in action TV shows like the Taken prequel series and other things like that. And from what I can read up on, he has his main wheelhouse is in stunt work and sort of as an action extra. He has the skills. He definitely has the skills. I know that Tony, the Mandarin, the actor playing the Mandarin, he has the appropriate skill set for this particular type of film. So it looks good. There is something, I know, you can never satisfy nerds. Okay. There is something that I'm a little bit concerned with. And it comes up not just for this film, but many other films. When I was growing up, when I was learning martial arts, you watch movies that feature martial arts to kind of this is how you can to emulate. This is how you can move, and you can do this technique or maybe not do this technique, things like that. So as I was growing up, I got a great affinity and appreciation for when a martial artist showcases their true skills on camera. Now, this is kind of back and forth. Even from the beginning era of the Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest and companies like that, you had a lot of embellishment, even back then, a lot of wire work, and more recently, with the 2000s and forward, You have something that a lot of wuxia films have showcased, something that is called wire fu. Well, what is wire fu? Take a guess. It's a type of martial arts choreography where they're jumping and flying here and there and everywhere, and it's because they're on wires. Visually, yeah, like for 99% of people, it is very impressive and even very aesthetically pleasing. It has a certain like beauty to it, particularly like the highlight films that feature that are Crouch Tiger, Hidden Dragon and Hero to most audiences. That being said, it's been used since the very beginning as a go-to kind of special effect to showcase something really extraordinary that a martial artist is capable of in those types of films. So there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with that. But when I see a film with... And I get it, guys. I get it. Maybe it's just me. But when I see a film with Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Tony Jaa, Iko Urvas, Talsim, Joe Talsim, I am... Like, one of the things that is really captivating to me is seeing the technique, the athleticism that these actors can really bring to their roles. And so, the one thing that I'm a little... Just me personally, I have no doubt that, especially now that like Disney has, you know, they've distilled the Marvel formula, the Marvel blockbuster formula, it's going to be a good film. I have no reservation about that. It's going to be a good film. What I do have a little bit of a reservation about is let the martial artists show their skill. But like I said, like obviously Simu is a stuntman, and that's been his bread and butter. So he has that athleticism, he has that physicality to bring to the role. I just hope that he's allowed to showcase it, because the trailer, what it does kind of show mostly is... Now, we had this era for decades of wire fu, but we're kind of getting into now with like the 2010s onward is... This is not a thing. I'm just making this up. CGI fu. In other words, like computer generated and augmented like martial arts and like that. And the thing is like, I would say for myself, it works in very, very few films. It usually works best when there's a fantasy element. Now, we do see that there's a fantasy element in the trailer. The Mandarin, for those who don't know, well, it's not so much... It all depends. So, I mean, like, if you're working with something where it's more of a fantasy scape, then the Mandarin sometimes has access to magical powers. For those in the know, his bread and butter is actually super tech. And that I don't hey, someone's like, "Hey, how dare you spoil that?" It's like, no, because if you look at the trailer, you can see that there is an individual with some type of mechanical rings around their forearms, which I don't know if that's specifically the rings that they're referring to. The 10 rings are usually rings that the Mandarin wears on both hands. Now, for each digit, like in the ring that has them, they have different powers and they have different abilities that they can use. What is really interesting about this is that you're showcasing a villain that is usually in the main rogues gallery of Tony Stark. Well, Tony Stark is, for the time being, time travel is a thing. We know this, and I have no doubt that Robert Downey Jr. is going to have bills to pay in the future. So either in cameos or something. But probably not for this movie, but probably like in the future, he's going to come back for something. You know, Dr. Dolittle is not going to pay the bills. No, not at all. Oh, Robert Downey. Oh my goodness. Anywho, so long story short, I'm looking forward to this, and we get this earlier than the Spider-Man sequel. Like, okay, and yes, I will do a follow-up video to that. It's going to be a speculation video, so I mean, there's really no rush, and I would rather just not just speak whatever into the ether is like, hey, I wonder what's going to happen here. Anyways, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi finally getting his time to shine. Finally, Disney is living up to their promises that they've been putting out there for quite a while. So I'm excited for this. I think all in all, it's gonna be just fine. If nothing else, you can tell that they are emulating certain like popular House of Flying Daggers, Hero, those types of like really successful martial arts epics. A little bit of sort of like a weird Wakanda-esque sort of like battle with like digital tigers and CGI warriors. So I don't know what that's about. Hey, I'm gonna see the movie. So, anyways, but Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings coming out. Thank you, Disney, for finally delivering. Appreciate it, all things considered. And yeah, looking forward to it. So, okay, before I get too redundant, thank you very much for joining me here on my trailer reaction. If this is your first time on Movie Ninja, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. If you like this review, please feel free to give it a like and just let the algorithm... I know we're not supposed to call it that anymore. It's recommendation system. Doesn't matter. Just so like to give YouTube the idea is like, okay, maybe there is something worth listening to this guy. All right, and all that being said, thank you very much for joining me here on Movie Ninja, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.